Call the water pollution control and the town council meeting to order for Tuesday, July 12th, 2016 at 7:05 p.m. Start first with salute to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Duty?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Fawnin?
Here.
Councilor Angeloni? Here. Councilor Arman?
Here.
Councilor Candelara?
Here.
Councilor Diamond? Here. Councilor Manna? Councilor Miller?
Here.
Councilor Rose?
Here. Approval of the June 14th, 2016 special town council meeting minutes.
So moved. Second.
Mayor Duty?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fawnin?
Yes.
Councilor Angeloni?
Yes.
Councilor Arman?
Yes.
Councilor Candelara?
Yes.
Councilor Diamond?
Yes.
Councilor Miller?
Yes.
Councilor Rose?
Yes.
Approval of June 21st, 2016 town council meeting.
So moved. Second.
I have a revision. I believe page 5 does not properly report item C. I asked about whether the council voted to pass to sell the property. It reads, they did vote when they sent out the RFP last year. I don't think that accurately reflects what I believe the council said, which was the council never took a formal vote on that, so I suggest that's needs to be amended.
Okay, motion to approve with the amended item.
Mayor Duty?
Somebody second that?
Rose did.
Okay. Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fawnin?
Yes.
Councilor Angeloni?
Yes.
Councilor Arman?
Yes.
Councilor Candelara?
Yes.
Councilor Diamond?
Yes.
Councilor Miller?
Yes.
Councilor Rose?
Yes. Okay, moving to the Water Pollution Control Authority agenda. First is correspondence, citizen statements. None listed. Unfinished business, nothing listed. New business, capital improvements to Branford sewage treatment plant.
Good evening. Just to give you a little history on this item, it was discussed in September of last year. But basically what we're talking about is the town of Branford had a study done to evaluate any capital needs at their sewage treatment plant, determined basically any big ticket items that they saw out there that needed to be addressed, with the idea of dealing with them now and trying to prevent any future problems at the plant and staying ahead of their needs, trying to take care of these basically before they fail, to program when they need them, and come up with a budget for them. So they had a study done in 2014. They shared it with us last year, and basically they came forward to us and asking town of North Branford to pay its fair share of the upgrades, the proposed upgrades to the sewage treatment plant. Again, they're basically looking at this point for about $6 million of improvements, of capital improvements to the sewage treatment plant over the next 5 or 6 years. There's a listing in there, but again, it's about $6 million worth of proposed projects that they've identified a need for, and they're planning on doing over the next 5 years. Basically, they're funding it in a couple of ways. They have a capital set aside money to pot of money that they got for, had sitting aside of their own money for capital projects, but they intend to fund part of the project, the improvements with that, and then the rest they would fund annually in the sewer use fees over the next 6 years. What they've asked us to do is, again, pay our proportionate share based upon flow of the capital improvements portion of the project, of which there are about $3.2 million that they're funding, and they're looking for about $287,000 from the town of North Branford to fund those improvements. Initially, they said they'd like to get it all up front because they're funding it all up front on their end. We discussed that with them last year and brought that back for the WPCA. That just doesn't work for us. To have a number like that come at us sort of out of the blue without a lot of discussion. And we ended up talking about funding it over a 5-year period. And basically, where we left off in September of last year is the WPCA authorized a negotiation of an agreement with the town of Branford to put together the terms for the payment of the fees to the cost of the town of Branford by the town of North Branford, and designate what those funds are for and allow it to be paid over 5 years. And what you have before you is a proposed memorandum of understanding between the two towns that basically puts together that payment over 5 years, when it's to be paid and how long it's to be paid. There's also just, when you put together the capital improvements, they have a plan, and we all know capital improvements. You have a plan, and you generally go forward with it, but there's always variables. And they do have a line there on the second page, second item. The payments made by the town of North Branford to Branford shall be utilized for improvements to the facility, including but not limited to those improvements outlined in the ACON report dated September 25th, 2014. The one thing I see, and this is just reality, if you have a plan, something may crop up and shift their priorities. But the fund should be used for capital improvements to the plant, of which we share it. That's put in there primarily trying to address that in reality there could be a change. And that we can get an accounting of the funds paid by town of North Branford and how they're spent to make sure they're spent properly towards capital improvements. This has been sort of talked about between myself, their town engineer, our town attorney has worked with their town attorney, and again, they came back with this proposed memorandum of understanding. I know Pat's not here for any questions on the legal end, but.
Craig, why does it say 2015 at the beginning, that first sentence? Is that a mistake, or was it supposed to be dated, was it supposed to be done in 2015?
I'm sorry.
The very first sentence of the agreement says
Yeah.
2015. Is that because it was supposed to be done last year?
Well,
Or is
okay,
that-
that's when
just
this
an
was
error?
drafted. That was when this was drafted. That's got to get changed in
Because
2016.
okay.
Yeah. This is when it started, and the date that it started.
So it's just an error, then? I just wondered if this is something they expected,
But what they're looking for, and what we talked about, is they were funding it last year, the idea that we would be starting to make payments this year. Because it was a big hit in our budget. And the other item I did highlight in there, the cost of this over 5 years has an impact of about $25 per year on our sewer use fee to fund that. So we're paying $400, the residents are paying $400 per year for a user fee. It will go up. Everything else stays the same. It'll have to go up to $425 if everything else stays the same. That's just the capital improvements over that 5-year period.
So it's $25 per year of
Per-
the 5 years, so
per
it'll go
year
up
during that 5
$125?
year.
It'll
Each-
go up
each year.
$125?
It won't go up 100. It'll go $25 per year.
So it's $125 over the 5 years? It'll
No,
go
no.
up.
I mean $25 will be added to the user fee just to cover this. And it won't be added each year. It'll be a consistent $25 across the board for the 5 years. Of our user fee will have to go towards paying the.
So we'll have to increase it once, $25, just for
We'll
capital.
increase it, and then we'll have to maintain that for 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, it won't keep increasing, that's correct.
Yeah, so it's $125 in 5 years. It's just not going up 100.
The net will be 120, the net will be the impact of $25 a year for 5 years. Conceivably, it should be at the end of 5 years, our user fee, if everything else stays the same, will go back down to whatever it was. And again, there's so many variables in there that will.
So Kurt, just, briefly, what was in the report of what they were doing there? Because the last few times I've been down there, it's like, they did their big construction 10 years ago.
12, 15 years ago.
And I actually was the building official there then, but doesn't look like they're doing anything there now.
It's listed, should be the last page, let's see.
Yeah.
Last
So
page,
they
that's
had
the
like
last
they
page.
wanted a new generator, so that.
There's a generator, a garage expansion, screen and washer, blowers and secondary tank improvements, gravity belt thickener replacement,
Fire alarm.
septic
replacement.
acceptance, and those are the biggest ticket items, and there's some smaller items in there, slide gate replacements,
But that goes like 2018, 2020.
over the next 6 years, basically.
Do we actually get an accounting from them that they actually did it?
They have,
Well,
we will get an accounting from it.
Well, that was one of the questions I was gonna have,
Yeah.
because it says if requested in writing, and I think it should just be automatic annually, they give us an accounting. If we're paying that amount of money towards the improvements, we shouldn't have to ask in writing. So, item 3 on the second page of the memorandum of understanding, can that be changed to read, the town of Branford shall provide an annual
An annual
accounting
accounting.
of the funds paid by the town of North Branford for said improvements? And just there.
I don't see any issue with that. I mean, that's just it. And the other thing too, I mean, I gotta throw it out there, again, it's a plan, and we're funding a plan. Things change, things may happen, they may come back, and again, they may have an emergency crop up, they may have to change their priority, they may not get around to it right away. One of these items on here, they have a program where they intend to get to them. It may take a little longer, but we want to make sure those funds that we're paying go towards capital improvements, legitimate capital improvements at the plant, of which, we're required to share in the cost of it. When they did their sewage treatment plant, we paid in arrears. When everything was done, they went through DP, and we were paying after the fact. What they're trying to do is set something up so they have a fund to pull it from, and then the money's in place before they start the project. Again, the important thing is to make sure, 100%, we need to see the accounting and make sure every expense is a legitimate expense.
So you're saying the amount could change?
It's these types of projects, absolutely. I mean, you always hope someone estimates high and they come in a little lower, and then they have a little more money to do. In theory, the way I see it, if they do more, and maybe they'll stretch it out, maybe they'll do a couple more capital improvements or a few less capital improvements. But you really got to get out there and bid the project and design it and have real numbers. These are budgetary numbers put together as part of an engineering study. But the important thing is that money stays and needs to be dedicated towards capital improvements at the treatment plant, and of which we share. There's not, if you want to mull it over, I can get something back. This is not, you have to do it today type of thing. I just want to make sure we have a discussion, and any concerns anyone has are brought out, we bring them forward and bring a document back to the WPCA.
I mean, we've already agreed to this, right?
Yeah, we voted in last year.
So, I don't know why we just wouldn't do it tonight. Because here's the thing, our 8.75%, if something breaks down there, we're gonna pay the 8.75%. whether it's in arrears, whether it's up front. And on, in the second page there where, you know, that's a good, little paragraph there that Branford is gonna utilize it for improvements to that facility, so it's almost like we're making payments for something that might happen, which probably makes sense.
That's absolutely true. I mean, they're putting the money aside.
Especially with a sewer treatment plant.
Yeah,
Right. And again, it's like anything, if you stay on top of it, you maintain it, you put off the big problems. And then that's the concept, and I wholeheartedly agree with it, you know, the approach they're taking, trying to address things now, early on, before they are a problem. And again, in the end, we want to make sure respect water plant, we can, I don't see any issue of making that change.
Just number 3 on the second page of the memorandum of, just so it reads, the town of Branford shall provide an annual accounting of the funds paid by the town of North Branford for said improvements.
And I think they pretty much do, Andy.
Right.
Every year we do get as part of sewer.
But yeah, that would change anyway,
Agreement.
because they have to fill the date in whenever it's signed. The date's plain.
Well, it does say 250.
Right, so they would just change and make that whatever.
And Kurt, the state classifies these treatment plants, right? Don't they give them a classification or rating 3, class 3, or class 4?
Well, depending on how the size and everything, but, I mean, this is a new facility, this is.
Okay, so no indication from the state that they'd be hit a year from now or 2 years from now, and it's saying you've got to go from a class 3 to a class 4?
Well, they don't have to, there's no, again, the state can change a couple of years from now and require an upgrade. It's usually in terms of your effluent requirements, in terms of phosphorus removal, nitrogen removal, and they'll take a look like that. The state used to have a big fund and help fund for a lot of these upgrades. The state doesn't have any. So it's all getting thrown back on the towns. You know, one time it was 90% funding, down to, when we did the Whitehall project, it was 20% funding, and now it's pretty hard to get.
No percent funding.
Yeah, there's a pot out there, but again, it's really focusing on the
Competitive and larger.
big municipalities, which have huge problems.
Yeah.
That's right.
What's flowing into the sound?
Yeah. I mean, the fortunate thing, they did do an upgrade around 96, 98, thereabouts. So they're in pretty good shape, but again, you gotta maintain everything. And sewage treatment plant, it's a tough environment for equipment. You gotta stay on top of that.
Want to approve this tonight, Al? Gonna make a motion?
I don't see what it could
Yeah.
be, but we don't see it.
Any further discussion?
We've got one little.
Do we have to read the whole agreement into the record, or just the?
No, there's a small motion.
Just the
I'll
motion?
move to resolve that the North Branford Water Pollution Control Authority authorize the town manager to enter into the agreement attached to tonight's agenda with the town of Branford as modified by comments from the town council for payment of capital improvements at Branford sewage treatment plant.
Second.
Further discussion? Roll call?
Mayor Duty,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fawnin,
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni,
Yes.
Counselor Arman,
Yes.
Counselor Candelara, Counselor Bennett.
Yes.
Counselor Miller,
Yes.
Counselor Rose.
Yes.
Next item under Water Pollution Control Authority agenda is citizen statements and petitions. Seeing none, we'll move into the regular town council agenda, reports of committees, boards, and commissions. Permanent Project Building Committee,
No meeting.
Economic Development Commission.
The Economic Development Commission met last night. I would like to report that they're gonna be doing a business, under the tent forum, at the Potato Fest site, August 4th at, I believe, 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock PM. Businesses are welcome to attend, and I think it's being held in conjunction with the Shoreline Chamber of Commerce. And their business visitation program is ongoing as well.
Park and Recreation.
Unfortunately, I missed the meeting, and I found out Counselor Angeloni also wasn't there, so I don't have a report for
We're
you.
in trouble.
Right, Joe.
Police commission,
There was no meeting in July.
fire commission, wasn't meeting. Board of Education, town council communications subcommittee,
The next meeting is planned for August 9th.
town planning goals subcommittee.
The Town Planning Goals Subcommittee met on June 29th with members of the Police Commission to formulate a prioritized list of the needs in terms of the police facility. When we get to that item on the agenda, I'll make a motion to ask to table that to August because we have some more information coming from the Police Commission and they're not quite ready to present that.
Public safety communications committee.
Public Safety Communications Committee is going to be on July 20th. We are going to have Chief Halloran from Branford meeting with us, and hopefully we can come to some final terms in terms of that regional preset.
Thank you. Planning and zoning commission,
Planning and zoning will meet on the 14th. There's a new construction project for commercial on Totucket Road that they're going to be reviewing, and they're going to be reviewing the reconstruction for the convenience store in Norfolk Center.
thank you. Town manager's report.
Yeah, just two brief items. I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce to you Lucas Hannon, who is here tonight. He is our intern from Rex Development, who will be working on economic development. He was at last night's meeting with the Economic Development Commission, and he's working on business surveys and economic development research and a number of other things. He is a student at the University of Delaware and is studying his bachelor's in economics. So I think it's an excellent opportunity provided by Rex to have Lucas with us, and so he's I think he's going to be a great fit for us and be able to do a lot of good things in terms of economic development. So I just wanted to put a face with a name and let you know that you may see him around town hall and maybe at some other meetings.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome aboard.
Welcome.
Thank you.
The other item is our discussion, review of the tablets and the software in terms of the town council agendas and packets. I'll thank the Board of Education for these iPads that are on loan, and hope that the transition, we can get through some of the glitches we had, quite frankly. But I think it's a pretty neat feature to evaluate, and maybe you like the iPads, maybe you don't, but I think after tonight you can see if you like the Notability feature app and if you like the iPad and the Dropbox feature, but try to get everybody set up on that. And we did do basically a paper copy as a backup anyway, just because we wasn't sure if we'd get everything to everyone and anticipating a few glitches along the way, which we did. But it seems to run, from our side, it took a few minutes to get each one set up that came in to get them. And hopefully you'll like it and explore it and see how it goes.
Thank you.
I'm available, Anthony's available if you hit any glitches in terms of downloading or uploading or anything like that, so just let us know.
Next item is community events and presentations. Community Center will be sponsoring a free concert on Thursday, July 14th at the Auger Farm Potato and Corn Festival site. It's in here, but it was upside down. It sounds pretty interesting. They have some bands, but we have a flyer here, so it's Thursday, July 14th, 2016, 6:30 to 8:30, free concert featuring the Muddy Rudders, good old rock and roll for the whole family. Auger Farm, 290 Forest Road, Route 22, the Potato and Corn Festival site. Bring a picnic basket and your lawn chairs. Or the Community Center, if you have any questions, at 203-484-6017. In case of rain, the event will be moved to the Stanley T. Williams Community Center. Thanks for being on.
And we received the telephone call to that effect.
At least we have rain dates now, Dan.
Progress.
Next item is Potato Festival volunteer letter from the Potato and Corn Festival volunteer committee members.
I would just like to comment on this. Roseanne Krajewski had called me and asked me if I would help them on their volunteer committee. And so I am now part of this committee because they are looking for volunteers, but they also are celebrating their 15th anniversary this year of the Potato Fest. And so as a tribute to that, they were going back to the original, the first year on the Potato Fest was they had local personalities, i.e. town council members and members of boards and commission that were invited. It was just a 3-hour event to come and help serve potatoes, corn, kind of meet the townspeople. So they wanted to bring that back for this, the 15th anniversary, thus the letter that was sent. This was sent to all the council members, all of the Board of Ed members, and I was also sent it to the town manager so that they could get it out to members of boards and commissions and department heads. So in the letter it states if anyone is interested, Sunday is going to be North Branford Day. At the festival, they will have $20 wristbands for rides and also free parking. And so that's the day that the committee kind of chose to have local personalities come. So there's 2 time slots from 11 to 1 and 1 to 3. If you can't commit to 2 hours, if you can come for an hour, whatever, any time that you could come, that would be great. They just ask that you call Roseanne or email her so that they can get you on the list to see when you'll be there, so that they make sure that it's announced and they have everything ready for you.
What are we gonna be doing? What? I didn't hear that.
You will be helping out at the Potato and Corn Festival, so you will be probably either in
Volunteer.
the potato and corn booth, most likely.
Yeah, it says volunteering in the potato and corn booth.
Right, I'll be at the dunk tank.
Or the information booth.
We will keep the people out of the parking lot. So we'll have you under the tent.
Okay.
Next item is citizen statements, petitions, and correspondence.
Hi, good evening. My name is Diana Policio, and I live at Robin Lane in Northford. I'm here representing the Economic Development Commission, and I was hoping to be able to see if we could open a little dialogue and an update for the 1599 Foxen Road. Is there anything that you would have that you might be able to share with us this evening? Anything to do with the buildings
The
that
only thing we
exist?
did
or-
was put in an RFP basically last month to raise the 2 buildings on the park. That's it.
As far as getting prices.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll find out what that expense is.
Cleaning the site contamination.
Okay. Considering that you're in that mode at this point in time, has there been any thought process about maybe a next stage of another RFP to invite developers to become involved? I know our previous excursionaire didn't turn out as well as we had intended, and the conservatism from this group was warranted. You're absolutely correct in your stance. We were kind of hoping that perhaps there might be another avenue that we might be able to pursue within the confines of that particular project. Any thoughts on that?
We haven't,
So you haven't kind of
we haven't
delved into
discussed that
that?
at all. I think everybody was waiting to see what the prices came in on the cleanup of the site, and also what the site looks like when it's finished.
Okay, fair enough on that. You do know that, we have our monthly meetings, and we have a wide variety of things that we're always working on. If there is any particular category or subject area that either we should go a little bit deeper and further on within our group, or something that we're not approaching that you would like to see us approach, we would certainly be wide open to any, suggestions or additional, if you want to call it coaching, that's fine. Anything that you would like to have us add to our work agenda. And if that's something that you need to put a little extra thought or something into, we're certainly available. Information can filter either directly to us or through Mike or Dan.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right, thank you for the time.
Thank you. I mean, I think, if I can digress for a second, you know, at our last meeting, I put a motion on the table, a suggested motion that we send out an RFP to go to, what was the, people that, you know, marketers and, to market 1599 once again, along with the other properties in town that we have. And that got voted down by, I think, Economic Development. I don't want to speak for them, but it was my impression that they were wondering what the concerns were as to why that would have been voted down. You know, we went out, we voted to go ahead with RFP to see what the expenses were to clean up the place. But we didn't want to go ahead and with an RFP to find out what the property the value may be of the property and what the market may be dictating we could do with it.
I think personally, some of the residents had concerns about the sale of it, and it disappeared, versus, you know.
Losing control over the property.
Yeah.
Right.
Versus, you know, after the cleanup, what it looks like, you know, if we ever get to that stage, see what it's gonna look like. But I'm in agreement with you. I think either the old town hall, which was the old senior center, should be rented out or marketed, and, you know, the house on Auger Farm should be rented out.
There you go. We have a lot of, we do and have a lot of different parcels.
I think those could be business offices or a small shop or something like that at one time. So,
I don't know. So, again, when palatable, I would like to put that motion forth again. I wanted to find out what the concerns were and address them.
I think when you lump them all together like that, it becomes scary, but, you know, if you do them separately,
Okay.
you know, it might be more palatable. That's just my opinion.
So then hypothetically speaking, you're saying, maybe send out an RFP to have real estate brokers come in and say what they can do regarding the various parcels of land and properties in town which could potentially generate income or be sold or whatever, and then separately, the same type of theory with 1599. Well, I would be happy to throw that to the table again.
Is there any discussion?
Well, I haven't heard a second. If that was a motion.
Was that a
I
motion?
was just, well, I'm just.
Or do you wanna amend the agenda,
Right.
if it's not on the agenda, or do you wanna discuss it under 12F? I mean, that's just demolition and cleanup of 1599. So there's, I think before you can do a motion, because we're still under citizen statements, I think we need to
Right.
amend the agenda to
Right.
put the item someplace.
Probably go.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda, adding 12G, do unfinished business, discussion and action. So we have to vote on that agenda.
Right.
Regarding a discussion regarding an RFP for both 1599 and the other properties in town as well.
Was that a motion there?
It's a
Yes, I
motion
make
to
a motion to
amend the
amend the
agenda.
agenda, yes.
Did you guys second?
No,
Oh, I'll second.
thank you.
What other properties are you thinking of?
You got the old senior center that's sitting vacant, the building's sitting vacant, and you got the Auger farmhouse that's sitting vacant. And we're paying the heat
What
and
about
maintaining them
the
both.
Sinky property? Is that something that we would not want to get rid of, Fran?
The what?
Sinky property.
Not right now.
For all those that's up on 17. I don't know, that's the only thing I know about it. What is it owned by, Fran?
Single property.
Wait, where is it?
Like, call it.
Right behind
Right across from
Passenger
John's.
Center.
Oh,
Right on the
okay,
Branford line.
okay.
So
Where you
you
dump
use-
leaves?
You use that quite a bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of our disposal.
I think I'd be,
Recycle,
I think I'd be far more comfortable
staging
with this
area.
if we actually had a listing of all these properties that you do want to discuss.
Carrie, you,
Because we're sort of picking them up on the fly as far as I can tell from this conversation. And I'm really uncomfortable with
We
that.
can put it on the agenda for next month.
I think Carrie gave us a list.
yeah, we did have a list, but, right, so I would like to withdraw my motion and request that Carrie get us that list again, that compile that list and perhaps that map of the different properties that we have that the town owns, that maybe we could,
Vacant parcels?
yeah, the vacant parcels, correct.
Or,
Yeah, some with buildings
Yes.
that are not being used.
Right,
Right.
exactly.
Okay.
that would be
So I
perfect.
withdraw my motion.
And then we'll just put that in.
Put that on
Put it on the next agenda.
agenda item. Before we move on, if we're still under citizen statements, petitions, correspondence, I just want to throw out a reminder that tonight will be Stephanie's last night clerking, and I just want to publicly thank her for her service.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
So we will be looking for someone.
Can we start it?
Well, I'm certainly happy to help. Typically, it comes from the council, who gives me a name and says, this is who the clerk is. But if there are no names or there are no referrals, I'll be happy to step in and help and look for that.
Doesn't that get listed, that opening get listed in the paper? No?
Yeah, typically it comes to the discussion of the council, they forward a name, tell the town manager, this is the clerk. But I'd be happy to.
How do we do that
present some
verbally,
names
Mike?
for you.
How do we do that?
What's
I
that?
guess if you know someone.
Do I send an airplane over to you?
Send us an email.
So I'll send you an email.
It's fine.
Paul, I withdraw my second.
Okay, next item is unfinished business session action.
No.
Resignations and appointments, sorry. Scott Small, Economic Development Commission as alternate, term to expire 12/31/2018.
I
I'd like to make
think,
that
well,
motion.
before we do that, I think we have to do what's in our
We have to
packet.
accept his resignation.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
You know, I just want to bring up some history as presented by Lisa Valenti, town clerk. She is educating me that historically, appointments were appointments, not resignations and appointments, and that typically in the past, council has not accepted resignations, sort of official when it gets to her counter, so to speak, and that I guess the council somewhere along the way changed it to resignations, and I guess as a acknowledgement of that, and I'm not sure if that's you know, the proper procedure, if we just put it under, maybe under correspondence and you acknowledge it versus taking the resignation, but again,
Yeah, we
that's
can
her
do that.
recommendation.
I'll just read it. It's dated 7/12/16. Other commitments do not allow me to retain my position as building code board of appeals. As per this letter, I, Scott Small, officially resigned from the town board of building code appeals. Thank you for my consideration. Expressly submitted July 12/2016.
So now I would like to make a motion to appoint Scott Small to the Economic Development Commission as an alternate with a term to expire 12/31/2018.
Second.
Marie, under that alternate, it has to have a slot, could you put him amend that to say, business community?
Okay.
Because they are all of those slots are designated specifics, and that's one
As the alternate
for business
for
community.
business community.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Mayor Duty,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fawnin,
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni,
Yes.
Counselor Arman,
Yes.
Counselor Candelara,
Yes.
Counselor Miller. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Counselor Miller,
Yes.
Counselor Rose.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move into unfinished business, discussion and action, review and discussion on future plans for the North Branford Police Department.
I'd like to make a motion to table this item to the August agenda.
Second.
Roll call?
Mayor Duty,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fawnin,
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni,
Yes.
Counselor Arman,
Yes.
Counselor Candelara,
Yes.
Counselor Diamond.
Yes.
Counselor Miller,
Yes.
Counselor Rose.
Yes.
Next item is review and discussion of nepotism policy.
Yeah, what I have put in your policy based on last meeting's discussion, I did amend the application for your review in draft form, adding that question number 4 at the bottom under personal data. Question 4, we had previously did not have, but it's there. Are you related to a town employee or elected official in terms of modification of the application funding? So it's a simple fix, it's there, and
Can we ask them if they answer yes, who it is?
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes,
I was
because
gonna-
this way, if it's like a Board of Ed member and it's a town position, at least we just know who it is, but it doesn't preclude them being excluded from
Right. Yeah, I wasn't gonna clutter the application form unless it was an applicant that was going to be interviewed, potential for, if they just submitted and were considered, but it was after that question would be asked in terms of, like you said, who they're related to.
Should that question also indicate that it includes by marriage?
Well, I think, again, I would get into that in those candidates that had checked the box and were invited in.
I'm suggesting that if it's by marriage, they might not check the box yes.
Okay.
They may not feel that's actually a relationship. I did have another question.
Well, you're not asking if they're married, you're just asking if they're related by
Yeah.
marriage.
I would say that's related, but that's just my opinion.
Gotta be careful, you might be included by a third of the town.
Sorry?
Might be including like a third of the town.
Well,
I didn't want to overcomplicate things and just, I figured if you were related or elected to official, we'd capture that.
Okay.
We could probe once we,
Yeah.
I think sometimes if you ask somebody, I always thought you couldn't say, are you married?
Well, you're not asking that question.
But that's why I think I just like this question the way it is, right? Without asking.
Where does this get us? I mean, really, you've got hundreds of people that are cohabitating. They can honestly answer that question now.
Right.
yeah, the second half of this, I think Pat was still taking a look at, in terms of policy, crafting something to look at, to make sure we captured what the council's looking for, that we could put into place. I just wanted, the simple fix there on number 4, if you wanna go that way, add that like that.
I'm just questioning whether it's going to capture the information that you want to capture, presuming that it's important information.
Well, when somebody checks yes, then it's up to Mike or
Right.
whoever's doing the interview to probe and say, well, how are you related to the?
I'm not concerned with the people who answer yes. I'm concerned with the people who would answer no and have a relationship through marriage and just not consider that a relationship and someone else might.
At some point on this application, does the applicant sign this?
Yes.
Then wouldn't that take care of it because they're signing?
When they find out.
Yeah,
they'll
because
be-
if they're signing,
Yeah.
that to me covers that.
They could be subject to termination.
Yeah, exactly. If they signed it and they lied, right, it's why bother asking? I think it's the question the way it is.
Okay.
I'm not suggesting that they're lying. I'm suggesting that they don't appreciate the relationship in the same way that some people suggest they must. I mean, that's what prompted this to begin with.
I just think the question covers it. And then if they sign it, that's it. They should be telling the truth.
Is this our current application form? So this has nothing to do with the question that was added, but the heading up there as far as mayor and deputy mayor and everything, if this is the one you're using, is incorrect.
Right, and I just grabbed the,
Okay, just so that,
yeah.
that is.
The other unrelated question that I had regarded the final statement on non-discrimination. The laws currently cover a whole host of other situations that don't seem to be listed here.
Oh, I just gave you the front page to show you the, for it.
It doesn't include sex or gender identity or sexual orientation, and a litany of protected classes that are under federal guidelines.
Let's certainly review that. I thought that was captured in the third or fourth page in our total application.
Well, it may be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Moving on. Memorial Day Parade Planning, 2017.
Just to clarify, you still want to see Pat working on a policy for nepotism for the next meeting? You want to see that, or you are?
Does this take care of that?
I'm okay with
I'm okay with this,
Yeah,
this
takes care
is
of that.
fine.
Okay.
It is.
I thought
As
we
long
did.
as they're signing it.
Okay.
And the Board of Ed has one
Yeah.
already.
Yeah, so
We
I,
ironed that out the last meeting.
So I think you're good.
yeah.
Okay.
So we'll just elect to
Just
adopt
leave it that
this
way.
top four.
Do we need to make a motion, or is it just, okay?
I'll
He made the
make that
change.
change, yeah.
Made the change.
Make the change?
Mike made the
Oh,
change.
we made-
I can institute that, yeah.
Thank you.
Memorial Day Parade Planning, 2017.
Yeah, I just wanted clarification here. I think at the ended the meeting, it sounded like we were talking about changing the date to a Saturday with Memorial Day as a backup.
I think we ended it saying we're gonna keep it on Monday.
Keep it on Monday?
The rain date of the following
Following
The
Saturday.
following Saturday?
That's what we said.
Yeah, that's what my
Maybe
recommendation.
thinking
Because
the
North
first-
Haven has
right,
theirs on
Yeah,
Saturday is.
Yeah, because that was the conflict,
And
right?
Sunday
So we
is
had to-
church, so
Okay,
we were gonna
good.
keep ours on Monday with the rain date the following Saturday.
The following, what?
Following Saturday.
The following Saturday.
Yeah, yeah.
NBIS, North Branford Intermediate School Report on leaks.
Thank you for going.
That's water leaks.
Yeah, just, I'll tell you, walking through with the principal, Alan Davis, and Bill Chody, it's amazing. What hits you is the fact that it's not an isolated area. They walked me through the entire facility, top to bottom, and I don't know if there was a single floor or area that you could carve out and say, yeah, there are a few places that have remained dry. The rest, they're moving buckets around. Kids get to a point where students are, they know where the barrels are and they're moving around the barrels, kind of thing. I walked in after a rain event and there's water in the cafeteria. I mean, granted, school's out, but if kids are eating lunch and they got a drip on their head and in their sandwich and their whatever they're eating, it's just, I mean.
How long has this been going on, Mike?
From the beginning.
To me,
Day one.
yeah, they all say from day one. It was not right from day one.
See the one on this, the picture of this window here? I mean,
Yeah, the whole window still was shut, it's gone.
I'm gonna leave work early to go on this tour, but.
yeah, should we invite, I think you should invite the Board of Ed. Or
Yeah,
not?
I think.
I mean, just.
Yeah, just
send over
post
there
them,
that
post,
we're going.
have them post,
Yeah.
have us post, and, yeah.
But the fact that this has gone on for any length of time is infuriating. It's just costing us more money, it's hazardous to everybody. And it hasn't been addressed why.
The Board of Ed has not, they haven't brought it forward to us, asking us for money or asking us, what are we gonna do, what can we do about it, until we brought it up.
But how, this is their home, I mean, this is.
Crazy. So, what I would like to do, because it is summer, and it's hard to see some of these pictures, but, so I'm gonna go on this. And, I know Dan is, and, you know, whoever else wants
Do
to
we have a
go.
date for that?
But I think, yeah, it's in here.
Yes,
Thursday
Thursday
at 3:00, this week.
This one building, we're gonna have to put another peak roof on.
Well, you know, I mean,
Well, but my point is, looking at these pictures, or we're looking at pictures. On Thursday, and I don't wanna have to wait 2 weeks where we're in the summer. If there's any signs of mold there, we need to address that. And we need to address it Thursday. I mean, I would almost say, if there wasn't something going on by these pictures, I would say, I would be calling the health department tomorrow morning and tell them to get over there and look for mold. But I'm willing to wait until Thursday and see it. But also, you know what I might do? I think you should invite East Shore Health Department to come on a walk on.
I was just gonna
On
suggest that.
Thursday.
I mean, I think that's a real good idea. Whatever we get into, we wanna have completed.
Well, we wanna fix it correctly.
We want it fixed
And we
correctly,
also
but,
don't want the building kinda shut up all summer, which, you know.
or not ready for the school year.
Right.
What do you think the chance on the third floor, main stairwell number 1, black ceiling stains? Of not being mold.
But Mike, we see these pictures.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the last thing anybody wants to have is mold in this thing, but you know what? The beauty of mold is, a little bleach goes a long way if you can stop the water. So it's not an end-all huge crisis. But if it is there, it needs to be addressed. It needs to be addressed while the kids aren't there. So, all I wanna say is, you know, on Thursday, if we need to go forward with that, you know, I can send out an email to the rest of the council that, or I want permission from Michael to move forward after Thursday's meeting with whatever we need to do on that. And, I don't know what we need to do. That window is disgusting on a, you know, with the state money, a $50 million school. That window looks like it's 1,000 years old over in a Europe stone castle or something that's been leaking for 500 years, not something that's been leaking for 4 years. It's unbelievable. And I'll tell you what, if one window's leaking, they're all leaking, it's just which way does the wind blow the water.
And that's a great point, because the frustration level with Bill Chody and his staff and Alan and the administration is that, you know, each rain event is different, right? Each snow or weather event is different, so it seems like it pops up in one area, they try to address it, and then if it's a different direction, duration, amount of rain, it pops up somewhere else.
But they're the ones though, you know, let me push back on that, because they're the ones moving around buckets, and as soon as you're moving around buckets when there's a rain event, it's gotta go somewhere to get remedied. And that hasn't been the case, obviously. I mean, we have 30 pages of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I brought all the photos if
Wow.
you're interested, because I didn't wanna give you all of them in the pack.
But you know what, Dan? The town owns the building.
Exactly.
So, that's why the town's gonna fix the building.
But that's why somebody should be made aware of this, town council
I agree.
immediately. The first bucket.
In fairness to everybody, I think everybody in this room has heard that school leaks. I had no idea that it leaked like this, because it wasn't brought to us with somebody really crying or, I mean, I even heard that they put up plastic under the, on the ceiling, took the ceiling tiles out, put plastic and funneled it into a barrel.
So it seems to me there should be some sort of, I'm concerned about the program.
It's a brand new school.
Right, it's a brand new school, brand new roof, and it seems to me there's a breakdown in communication somehow that can't happen again. This is,
All right, you handle the communication, I'll handle fixing the leaks.
well, you'll probably be more successful.
I don't know, but I mean, we're gonna, and unfortunately, it's been, how long is it? Is it be on us.
Yeah.
And we own the building, so. Maybe a year ago, I mean, maybe in the first year on the windows leaking. However, I've seen court cases on building stuff, 7 years out where contractors have been held responsible. So I think that,
We're not out of the woods yet.
I think the contractor's not out of the woods yet.
Right.
But we'll see what the architect says. It definitely is on record that, it should be on record, because Richard Brannigan was there, and, we were all there when we pointed out to them they were installing the windows wrong. So, and you know what, shame on me, I didn't go back and look to see if they switched them. We had a memo that said they took all the windows out and put them in properly. So,
I don't know if that responsibility falls on you.
well, I was the one that told them they put them in wrong in the first
Right,
place.
there you go.
So, anyway, but, I mean, there's an awful lot of damage there. With that much water in a wall, we could have other issues there.
East Shore Health.
I mean, where are the rest of you on that? I think, well, I don't see that it does any hurt, it only is an upside. If there's an issue there, we have to address it. If there's not an issue there, great, we looked at it.
We may have to address it quickly though, East Shore Health District.
Well, it's,
Some
by
violations.
doing it
They
on
could
July
get some
14th.
violations, right?
Yeah, but we have
They would have access to somebody testing for,
air quality.
yeah,
quality,
and mold spores and all that, so.
But it gives the school the summer months to do it, and they have, they would have 5 or 6 weeks before staff are
They have to
back
start-
in
They
there.
have to start on it right away.
Right,
That-
well,
well,
that's
that-
why I think
yeah.
we need to, so I think that as long as we bring them in, then it's on East Shore Health. It's not up to us to decide what's mold and what isn't.
Right.
So if you can invite somebody from them to come on the meeting, come on the walk.
Sure.
Good.
Moving on, update on the status of Medford ambulance.
Yeah, Chief Stewart provided the file. I sent it over to Pat. Pat's reviewing it, but I think it's going to require a sit-down with Chief Stewart. He's out this week, so we're going to try and get that scheduled as soon as he gets back, and then they can proceed with that.
Okay. Next is a RFP demolition cleanup, 1599 Foxen Road, North Branford.
Yeah, this one, I think this, you see there, I put in here, the state has a demolition contract we could piggyback off of there in terms of trying to expedite this and separate it in terms of the abatement, remediation, whatever you clean up, whatever you want to call it, in terms of those contractors listed there. We worked with 2, Manafort and Best Tech, so we could theoretically use the state's contract, bring them in, have the cleanup done, and then look at a second RFP or bid for the actual demolition. And the question that was raised is, question I have for you is, any interest at all in writing it in such a way that allows the salvage company, demolition company to salvage any of the material, or just doesn't really matter or care? Just, I think we should break it up. That might lower the cost for us and the value if you allow a demolition. I defer to Al on this. He probably knows a hell of a lot more than I know, and probably has a lot of experience with demolition
Well, on
companies.
the,
that
right,
just-
on the demolition, the demolition's gonna be open until, nobody can bid it fairly, until they know exactly what's there. So by separating the cleanup and the actual demo, you're gonna get better numbers on the demo.
Right.
And unfortunately, just like when we were, trying to list it, or get center plan to come in and do something, that was always dumped back on the town. Okay, they were gonna take out the clean up, that was coming off the cost of the project. So, no matter who does it, that's got some things that need to be cleaned up, and the town's gonna have to pay for it. So the only thing is, with the state bid, we aren't gonna know what that part's gonna cost up front. Or do you think they should be able to go go in there, identify what it is, and tell us what it is within, pretty close.
Right, I mean,
Yeah.
right, so for somebody to come back with an RFP, they're gonna want access to the property and check out what this.
Well,
See, I don't think either building is that bad. Wasn't there something?
No, I got the, right, you got chemistry, so,
Gasoline,
yeah, the
where
report.
Mike used to fill his cruiser up there.
Yeah, there's a little spillage, there was a little spillage up there, and that has, as the scientist in the report says, that over time, that, has attenuated throughout the soil and is not, no longer, I'd say as an issue in terms of cleanup. So
Great.
the restriction is now
So maybe
lead
it's
and
lead.
asbestos in both buildings to various degrees. And obviously, I think more lead in the back building.
In the old building.
In the old building than in the front building. So those reports be handed off to, this cleanup crew, and they can give us a thing. But again, we're throwing this out to get an idea of scope of cleanup cost, and that's, funding is a whole nother.
So you just want to contact these companies?
Yeah, I just wanna see what
I think
the
that's a good
state
idea.
bid will allow me to do, and see how fast we can do it in terms of saying, hey, we got a report here, here's the lead, here's the asbestos. What do you give me for a price for cleanup?
We've used the
Now
first
that-
guy also, Mike, too.
What's that?
We've used the first guy also, the AIS
Oh,
part, we've used
okay.
them as well.
Great. Okay, so we
Okay.
got three to look at.
And the last time you have in here that there's, solid certain materials that may hold value.
Yeah.
How do we control that, or what do we do with that?
I don't know, that's again,
Is that the
that's
tin
like the
roof?
tin and if there's any of the flooring that in terms of for beams that might be, I think it's just the tin and
It's probably just the tin. It's been my experience with, and I have my demo license. Whenever you get you have someone that has an old house that they're taking down to build a, pretty big new house. So if you have tin ceilings, or you have, the old radiators or the bathtubs or whatever, and you go to somebody like Urban Miners or some of those guys, they don't come in and take it for the material. They come in and they want to charge you to take it out. And 99 times out of 100, it ends up not happening because they want to charge you more money than it just doesn't make sense. The tin ceilings are harder and harder to come up with, so there might be somebody that would be interested in that. I don't know who, but somebody like Urban Miners might. Maybe maybe they come in and take that without being paid to take it. But a lot of times, like the guy that like to take doors and stuff like that, they're charging you more money than, and it's really just a feel-good thing that you're recycling these things. So I don't know what you do. Maybe you could contact somebody like Urban Miners and walk them through it.
typical demolition companies like sub that out and say, okay, they got a demolition
Right,
contract,
they-
and then they go to the guys and say, okay, here.
Right, you go to the companies that are looking for that stuff, right?
Is that true, like the floors, like the wide planking and all that kind of
The
stuff?
floors, that definitely costs money to get up because it's so expensive to take it up.
Right.
Get the nails out and save it. That I haven't seen it work economically. You have to have somebody that wants that.
Lots of those products, right?
Who's gonna go get them themselves, all these companies that do it are kinda like, they're kinda like middlemen. They're like, okay, we're gonna get paid to get it, and then we're gonna get paid to sell it. And their theory is that they're saving you on the demolition. They're not. The demolition is with a machine that takes.
10 minutes to take out, would it take them a month to take out?
Right.
Right.
So, and there's not that much weight.
Maybe we should look at, some residents.
Yeah, see if someone's interested.
Yeah, there's a lot of history there.
Well, yeah.
That may be
It's a good idea.
something.
Wells might know, or might be interested in even the tin ceilings, or would know somebody that might, is John Jesper. For anybody that's ever walked through his house,
Right.
they know that this guy knows what those things are worth and who might be interested in them.
All right, so I mean, I don't
Well,
want to.
it becomes an issue of liability and insurability
Yeah.
also, but you just, anyone
Right.
go in there.
I agree.
Maybe
So-
as a, I mean, I don't know if there's any specific timetables, so I throw this out, that we go with the traditional demo, right?
Right.
And just find out what the number is on the traditional
Right.
demo, and then,
Yeah.
you know, from there,
And go
when we get to
from
the
there.
point where you wanna do it, you figure out all these other variables. So, we'll go off the state contract for the cleanup, and then put out an RFP for the demolition, straight demolition after environmental, cleanup, and see what the number is. Probably
The
makes
town ought to save some of the, tin pieces, we not brainstorm, just for, historical.
He has a lot of,
He
he
has a lot
has a lot of
of
open
that.
space for that, Alan.
I've always been told that center school was the last building in town that was built and paid for, not bonded. So there's a historical value to that. Now, and then here's the funny thing, and one of the augurs was the selectman at the time, and there was this huge town debate, because they could go bond it, or they could pay for it. And, the story goes that, the people that won eventually and said, we're gonna pay for it, was like, why would we wanna put our children in debt?
Right, well,
Okay, so,
yeah.
and that's, those are true stories, I don't know if they're true or not, but they are stories that
They're true stories.
I've heard over and over again.
That theory's changed.
Fair statement, anyway.
Moving on to new business, discussion and action, end of year report on the fire training facility.
Yeah, you have a report in there. This was requested by Counselor Miller, and the report is in there. Chief, as I said, Seward could not be here, but I believe firefighter is here. If you have any, Robert's here, if you have any
Well,
questions.
Deputy Chief Colangelo, Training Officer, North Branford Fire.
I don't know if there are any questions, but I think I thank Counselor Miller for requesting this, because I think it's important for the council to have, and also, there's a standing invitation from Chief Seward for any of the council members that want to see any of the firehouses, the burn facility, and, operations, ambulance, and so forth. So, he welcomes any inquiries at all.
Well, I thought it was important to get a report on this, because it's come up in a number of discussions. And on the run-up to it, there were issues on being used by various out-of-town elements, cost savings for our own fire service, and the question of whether or not it was going to generate revenues.
Basically, the sole purpose of the facility is the safety and training of our firefighters to provide a level service to the town. That's the main focus. It was not intended to generate any kind of revenue at all. What it does do is keeps our assets and our firefighters in town during training, instead of bringing them down to New Haven, over to Wallingford, up to the Connecticut Fire Academy, or our other towns. We do share the facility with our mutual aid towns, Branford, East Haven, Guilford if they would like to. North Haven's used it twice. Wallingford has their own, and we offered it to Durham. We train a lot with each other. We respond mutual aid together. We share assets. We share multiple training classes. We host classes together. We share resources. This is just one more thing that we can share when we're providing training to our firefighters, as well as our neighbors. It's just a great asset, and it's been working out very well for us.
Yeah, but just that there was a whole heck of a lot more
Sure.
claimed in the run-up to this, and that's why I asked for this report. I expected that there might be revenues, and there are none, and I wanted to see what the savings were. And the savings, according to this report, is about $6,000 for the year.
See, if you go to New Haven, you have to pay for 2 officers down there at rate time and a half for 8 hours, so it gets pretty costly down there.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
But again, I just wanted to see the figures, and I thank you very much for sharing.
Absolutely. And again, like what Chief Seward said, if you guys ever want to, have a tour, we're very transparent. We'd love to have you come down.
So is it everything that you guys had hoped or thought that
Absolutely.
it is?
Absolutely.
That it was?
A lot of positive feedback from the officers and members. Unbelievable. And actually, the neighboring towns actually kind of envy us a little bit for it. But they're very pleased with it. Very pleased.
So the other thing I'll say, and I've got to say this because I'm proud of it, and I'm proud of it for the town. So we had, as everybody knows, we had a Rose, an Auger, and a Newbig build this thing. And I got to tell you, those same guys are up in Farmington doing one, and on the foundation alone, and I'm going to use round numbers, on the foundation for the one at North Branford, the local guys did it for $23,000. The lowest bid for the foundation in Farmington was $98,000. And those guys started erecting it today, and the foundation is a mess. Again, they didn't have town guys with town pride. They would have been so embarrassed if they did something wrong. Bill, they had the lowest bid that was 4 times higher than what North Branford paid for the foundation. And it's all wrong. And the guy up there asked my son what he should do with it, and he told him, you gotta have him jackhammer it out and start over. Because it's.
Can't skim coat it? No.
Yeah, you can't fix it. But at any rate,
Yeah.
that's neither here nor there, but it is.
Worked out very well.
Yeah, definitely, hopefully it works out for you guys.
Would you be able to accommodate a town that's not a mutual aid town if you wanted to?
We could, yeah,
You could,
yeah. And in fact, a month or so ago, we had the military branch from, got the actual number, but they're out of O-line. They had their tactical firefighting apparatus down there, and they did a couple of evolutions. So we definitely accommodated the federal government, and they loved it. They were very impressed. And they accomplished all their annual training basically in one day. And they actually want to come back. So, but they enjoyed it as well. It's good. It opens dialogue too with the other towns and other agencies. And we offered it to the police department. They could do their clearing rooms with flashbang, repelling, and all that stuff that they do. More, so everyone can do.
Well, I certainly think you should. You should have it used as much as possible. That's,
Great asset.
That's still not what generated the question, because the question was generated when, on the run-up to this, that it was going to generate some income, and that was one of the reasons why I believe council voted on it.
No, we talked about opening up to everyone, and it wouldn't be economical because I think the wear and tear in the structure would be exponentially increased. And plus, we have to pay our people to supervise it. Fire service instructor who's got
I
safe
remember
jobs
the
and
discussion
training.
quite well.
And I just, I don't
And it
think-
generated a good deal of controversy too, because it was very expensive.
Yeah.
And again, the expectation of revenue was one of the arguments raised
Mm.
against the costs.
Yep.
So, again, I'm asking for this to provide some clarity to that.
Sure.
People ask.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Next item is review and discussion on town welcome signs.
Yes, this is also an item requested by Councilor Miller, so it's on your agenda. Put together a packet in terms of progress report, what we've been working on, and some pictures as well, in terms of inventory of what we call the welcome signs, or the signs that are on our entrance points, but also park signs. And it was a thought in terms of trying to standardize these signs and have a uniform look throughout the town, but also you can see from the photos that these signs have weathered and have deteriorated and do not really look inviting anymore. So we're going through gathering information, working with Fran and Carrie and Lauren in terms of working group to get this information to you, and I think maybe the council, not that you have to make a decision tonight, but there are going to be decisions down the road that maybe the council as a whole wants to do this, or as a subgroup, essentially to know how far you want to go with how extensive you want to go. Because Carrie has some information, maybe she can tell us about basically on what some of the costs are going to be, and they're going to drive the project, and it's something we're going to have to budget for and look at and figure out how you want to implement, how much you want to do, the scope, and how fancy you get with these signs. So, Carrie, I think you have some additional information on that.
Yes. So in your packet at the beginning, there's a table that goes through the number of signs that exist today versus the number of signs that had been in place at one point in time. And then following that are just some photos of the existing signs today. And then the final two signs are just examples of some other signs that the group that Mike mentioned we thought looked nice and could be an option for North Branford. So we just started by seeing what the options were and getting some very approximate prices. If you look in your packet, the photo where it has "Welcome to Wilton," that's kind of the cream of the crop, the top most highest expensive sign. That's $5,000 approximately, which includes installation. And that's a carved sign. That's a high-density signboard that lasts approximately 20 plus years. Again, it has this gold leaf lettering, so that makes it also very expensive. Then the next image that you see, the last one in your packet, that's actually a sticker. So it's an image that's overlaid over solid PVC, so it's vinyl lettering, and that lasts approximately 10 years. And that price range is between $1,700 and $2,000. And again, those are just estimates. I just was trying to get an idea of how much these would cost. It would change based on how many letters we have, if you'd like something carved, if you like the sticker option. There's also a third option, which is a hybrid, which is a raised lettering, where actually the background is removed. So compare it to maybe something that we have today, where it's, I don't know that they do sandblasting, but they actually blast around the lettering, so it makes it appear that it's raised, where it's actually carved behind it. So there's a lot of different options. I think this evening was more just to give you an update, let you know that we're looking to standardize the signs, not only the Welcome to North Branford signs and Northford signs, but also the park signs as well. And see if you had any initial reactions, and then probably come up with a longer term plan of putting this into a capital improvement program for budgeting.
I have a question. If there are towns that have businesses sponsor the signs, did you find that odd? I mean, I know North Haven does that. Every
There's
sign
quite a
is-
few towns that have, they put the name of the
They put the name of the
business,
business
you
underneath
know.
there's just sponsored by, but I guess that certainly would help tremendously in terms of the cost.
Right.
I mean, you would still be in control of what the sign is gonna look like, but then you get businesses, plus it also helps promote, you know.
The question with
I
that
don't think it's just the
is,
signs. I think
No.
it's has something to do with beautification of that location as
Yeah, it's a
well.
landscaping of it. The town
Yeah.
usually buys a sign and puts it up there, and then the company,
Oh, I thought they.
the company does the landscaping on it.
Oh, okay, I thought they did.
I think that's a beautification issue, and certainly that's something we should look into as well.
it was just a question of how you would like it to look, if you wanted just the standalone welcome sign, or if you wanted other signs surrounding it, below it, to the side. Just, kind of creates a different feel.
Going into Guilford, they just have like, I'm looking at this, the village in Rutherford one, the Heart Safe community, they just have, a fairly good sized metal sign that says, "Welcome to Guilford Agricultural Communities in 1639 or something like that. It's pretty cheap, pretty easy to maintain, and, gets the message across. But
I think this came up on the, as a presentation to the council prior to the first of the year. And the expectation that I was left with was that there was work being done on standardizing signs, and that we were going to get a report at some point. And I've been waiting for this to come up, haven't heard a word, so I asked to revisit this because I thought it was hanging business.
Just to add on to that about the parks, again, the goal of talking about this was to standardize the signs so that if we came up with some kind of a design, whether it was having the town seal and just welcome to North Branford, using the same color scheme and maybe font, and again with the town seal, using that not only on the welcome signs but on the park signs as well. Because there are a few parks that don't have any signs right now. Memorial Park, where the new tennis courts are being installed, is one. And then I believe North Farms.
I like that idea.
So if we did have a more unique welcome to North Branford sign, that it would be standardized for the parks as well, so that you knew you were entering not only North Branford, but a municipal property.
Shouldn't the one in Northford say, welcome to North Branford, and then down at the bottom, the village of Northford?
I think it does.
No, it says, welcome to Northford.
What's the
No, I think
Welcome
it's-
to the village of Northford, town of North Branford, but it
Oh.
should say, welcome to North Branford, village of Northford. I mean, it's been that way for a long time, but, I mean, you don't come into North Madison, it says, welcome to Madison, not welcome to North Madison. You don't go into North Guilford, welcome to North Guilford. You go, welcome to Guilford. North Guilford is part of Guilford. So, you know, Northford is a village within North Branford, you're welcome to North Branford.
But I think the people in Northford paid a little bit more for that sign out.
Well, they had an extra line on their taxes, it was a surcharge.
I really don't care.
All right, we won't fight over that then.
So from an economic development standpoint or town pride standpoint, I mean, this is a priority the council wants to pursue and to put together a package and potentially start to, fund and implement in a phased-in approach this fiscal year, or do you want to wait, put numbers together and wait in terms of the next round?
I don't think we budgeted anything
No,
for it, right?
We
So there's
didn't.
nothing-
These signs are pretty embarrassing in terms of the
I know.
They've weathered tremendously.
Well, they're old.
Can they be
Frankly,
dressed
Mother
up?
Nature's gonna take them down for us
Can
pretty
they be dressed
soon.
up or they are shot?
I think they're shot. I mean, some of them were already removed.
Franny, they're shot?
Shot.
Okay.
Because they were actually
Yeah,
wood,
they're
right?
20.
They were wood.
They're a fiber board type
Yeah.
thing.
So they're probably rotted below ground
Well, they're
level.
4x4 posts, but I mean, the sign itself is just weathered. I mean, they're hard to keep clean, and that was one of the issues.
I think they were put up when Frank Connolly was
Yes.
there.
Right.
Yeah.
Correct.
About,
So-
it's about 20 years ago.
I believe that there's some insurance money from one of the signs being damaged, so I don't know if maybe some of that money could be used towards a sign. Again, I'm not sure what the cost would be, depends on what the design is and whether that's for the park or welcome to North Branford, but that was just one thought for getting things going, if that was of interest.
Is that something you want to throw in the hands of economic development?
In what regards?
Well, if they want to, standardizing these signs for all the parks and all the town lines. Discussing that with Carrie, coming up with some sort of proposal for us. And
Have it for next year's budget.
maybe Brian did find out how much this.
Yeah, put it in for next year's budget.
Yeah.
See if it survives. I mean, I think that, that sign for Wilton,
It's beautiful, but $5,000
That's
is
nice.
ridiculous.
and if it's a sign that lasts 20 years, it's not that expensive.
Metal signs will last 20 years too.
And the blue is a really nice color.
Six of them around town.
Times 8, yeah, or something like that.
And the point is to do something that's maintenance friendly.
Right.
The ones we got were not really maintenance
No.
friendly. They always collected the dirt from the road.
Their paint started peeling
Yeah.
within 2 or 3 years.
And it's a town pride thing. I mean,
Absolutely.
and all the park, because we have other park signs that we're supposed to be putting up that we haven't. That was
in part of the deal when we bought the property. But, you know, at some point we have to make a decision. North Farms, I think we have insurance money for. And I think, you know, one of the other town signs, I think that we got some insurance money for. So we're just looking for about like where we all want to go, and then we work on the numbers, the style, and then we can figure out what kind of material you want to make it out of.
Well, why don't
Well, I think
why don't
we
we
should
work
do
through
welcome
We have
EDC?
some, we have some chatter here. If you looked at that one that says welcome to Allen's Meadows, I forgot what town that is.
The vinyl
The
overlay.
vinyl one, if you could come up, I get the sense that that's the one we probably would like to hear about, if you would come up with a proposal on that.
Okay.
We love the one on Wilton, we just don't want to pay for it.
Well, it's
But I
carved
think if you
in
could come
gold
up with
overlay.
something on using that,
Okay,
that one is kind of the model,
okay.
make it vinyl.
And the town colors that we
Right.
have, you know, the town seal.
Well, again, that's a very good question or thing to bring up, you know, do you want the town seal in there, or do you want something just sort of generic like that one, this is just welcome to.
Well, maybe we need to, have some different options.
Options are fine, we can do that.
Oh, Al, this looks like Allen's Meadows, did you see that one? That looks like just the, vinyl post with the vinyl
Right,
cover
right.
over a wood post. With a,
Right.
Right,
with a vinyl sign over
So
it.
it's about 1700s.
Yeah, it's probably like that ASEX material or something.
And it's going to resist
Right.
weathering, it's going to last for quite a while.
The cost would probably be the different options of what we wanted to be on, have on this.
The other thing, has anybody ever really cleared up, you know, when North Branford was really North Branford?
Didn't some say
1831.
1831?
Yeah, that's wrong.
Al was here, Al was
I mean,
here.
that would be close, you know? So,
Did anybody ever write a history?
so
of
briefly,
North
Yeah, there is
in like
actually.
1638, there was this chunk of land, and it was known as Totoket. Okay? 1638. And out of New Haven, and it's in the history of New Haven. And Branford, Branford was developed in 1644 or so on this piece of land known as Totoket. Okay, the Totoket is still Totoket. And so that was the piece of land. It was an 8-mile by 10-mile stretch. And right after, early 1700s, by every history book that I've read on it, was when the North Branford Congregational Church, or Church of England, or whatever you want to call it, petitioned the Branford Church saying, hey, we can't get down there in the winter anymore. Can we become our own town? So, and you know what? This is like a pet peeve of mine. I've been on this for 2 years. I've paid people to research up in Hartford. I've paid people to research in New Haven, because I'm trying to prove that we're the oldest family farm in the country. And if I'm 1643 or so, we win. And Robert Rose was the original signer and the original divider with 4 other men for Totoket. And I'm telling you, it's really neat history. Do you know, and I didn't know this till 2 days ago, Foxen was a Native American's name. He was a guy that signed the Totoket over to the group in New Haven, who got it through the king, and it's quite a history. The guy who got it in 1638, 1639 was supposed to settle it, went back to England and never came back. Robert Rose had already settled Old Wethersfield. Then he got involved and they brought him down here to settle Branford. But it was all, so, Totoket and all that was done in whether you want to say 38 or 44. And it wasn't the shoreline. All the history shows that they just went down there for ease of food, clamming and all that stuff. So I'm going to tell you that 1831, maybe that was when the town was incorporated.
Yeah, it's probably when the state legislature incorporated.
But
Not
the
found.
town separated from, and called themselves North Farms, actually, in like 1704.
Well, pressure's on because we're talking about signs, so we better figure it out.
Well, I know one thing, the sign down by my end is gonna be the one that looks like Wilton.
Yeah, but I think that's Rose Farm sign.
Yeah, right.
On your side of the fence, on your checkbook.
That says, "Welcome to North Branford, home of Rose Orchards." But anyway, the history is really neat. I never, and you know what, I've had, surveyors who do a lot of research. I mean, you get obsessed with it. And, but I will say this, and then I'll stop. I'm down in the Branford Records, volume 1, page 1 of their land records. And so anyway, that all is going on there, that these 4 guys had this big group of land named Totoket, and then they divided it into 4 pieces, and the Roses got a quarter of it. But on page 6 of the land records, and I actually went in and told Jamie Cosgrove he's got a problem. Page 6 of the Branford land records, which was the records of the town, they said 2 things. Don't go down into Indian Neck, because the Native Americans were pretty rambunctious, so it wasn't safe to go there. But other than that, they put a bounty on wolves of 10 shillings. So I told Jamie, I'm like, I think you guys have an illegal bounty on endangered species. Unless there's a boat somewhere that Branford took that off. If you kill a wolf, you get 10 shillings.
Well, plus with interest, it's like $500,000.
Not since Brexit, shillings aren't.
Right. So anyway, that's enough on the history.
Thank you for that lesson. Next is review of state.
Just one thing. The village of Northford was included in that.
Oh, geez.
But I think they had a vote sometime.
There goes my sign.
So to clarify on the sign thing, so Carrie's gonna come up with a standardized design or
Well, she's gonna come up with some options though in terms of what's gonna be on the sign, because it.
Right.
Other than the town name, is it the town symbol, is it a tree,
Right,
is it
so that'll be Carrie's.
Totucket Mountain?
All right.
Is it a potato and a ear of corn?
Or Home of Al Road.
Right.
Road is orchard.
Next is review of state of Connecticut DEP bill
Yes,
regarding inland wetlands application.
we have a bill.
It would be nice if the state knew where the town of North Branford was located for an address, because I don't know when Middletown Avenue
Yeah.
came by the town hall in North Branford.
I saw that.
And there's 2 different names on that second paragraph. Starts off Miss Cheryl Chase, and says according to Miss Smith. You don't even know who Miss Smith is.
It's state work, she's gotta be close.
So this is in regarding the propane.
Yep. This is the hearing they're conducting.
Yes. Well, this bill's up until the hearing, not
Right, it
including
doesn't-
the public hearing.
So then we're paying for the public, or we're paying for the
Well, I'm
public
sure
hearing?
there's gonna be
Maybe
a
their
bill on a
time,
public
their
hearing.
research, right?
Yeah.
No, for their staff time, whatever they
Yeah, their staff
devote
time.
to the proceeding, they are charging us for.
So it says, basically, Ms. Chase, Director of Inland Wetlands, provided an enclosed response to my request for detail. According to Ms. Smith, there's 2 individuals that worked on the case for a total of 18 hours. And general summary tasks like meetings, field visits, drafting a letter, public notices, should not have applied by the level of detail I understood the council was looking for. However, if you feel there's enough information with respect to the hours and explanation of tasks, I suggest the motion below. So it's for a total of $1,930.53 for 40 Sierra Road.
Really, we don't have any choice.
Well, I think the issue last time is that bill was just paid without any detail.
And
Correct.
It wasn't
It was like
it wasn't
6,000.
detailed at all, it was just a number.
Right.
Right.
So this is on top of the $6,000, now we're at 8,000,
Yep.
quite close to 8,000.
And they've yet to conduct a hearing.
And then we have the conduct hearing, so. What do we make a motion?
There's a suggested motion
To pay it.
To
to pay.
Oh, man.
Actually, they did use that one.
The North Branford Town Council hereby authorizes Michael T. Pauls, town manager, to pay invoice number DEP 268756 from the Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection in the amount of $1,930.53 for application review of 40 Road.
Second.
Roll call.
Mayor Duty,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fawnin,
Yeah.
Counselor Angeloni,
Yeah.
Counselor Arman,
Yep.
Counselor Candelara,
Yeah.
Counselor Bennett,
Yes.
Counselor Miller,
Yes.
Counselor Roos.
Yes. You know, Michael, could you make sure that you forward all these bills to the inland wetlands? You know, I think they need to see it, you know, especially where they label the bill, reimbursement of cost incurred on failure to act for
Yeah.
application review. I mean, I know that it was, you know, a very hot potato, but you know what? When you get appointed to a board or commission, you gotta do your job. And now it's costing us a lot of money because they didn't do their job.
And the result, Brian, might be the same.
Yeah, the result, right?
You're gonna get the same result out of the state, but we're gonna be about 15, 20 grand.
Michael, is that public hearing
right.
still
You're gonna get the same result.
scheduled for September?
I think it is,
Yes.
correct,
September 8th.
September 8th?
We're just trying to
Here?
determine a location, so
Okay.
it will be in town. We're just trying to figure
So
out.
we could
exactly-
publicize it, so people
Yes.
that wanna go to
It-
the
And
hearing.
the state is advertising it as well.
Okay.
We're gonna be criticized if there's not adequate publication, so we should make sure there's something in the Tucket Times, the Branford Review, on the billboard out there. We should make sure it's all over
The
place.
website.
Code red.
Yeah, I understand your point, so, I mean, because it's the, I don't think that harms the process anyway, right? It's not gonna, we do it go above and beyond what the state, it's their show, they have to do it. We
State's
go
gonna
down.
meet the legal criteria, but we know there's a lot of interest.
Right.
What we don't wanna do is incur this expense, go through this aggravation, and have people come forward and say, I didn't know what was happening, and I wanted to speak.
Right, okay.
You know what, so everybody's there, what if you did the Everbridge, call? Whatever would that do? I mean, does that hurt us legally?
Whatever way it can get out there.
Right, I mean, I would call everyone else in town and say, hey, this is coming to town. You know, I mean, that was one of the things, like, nobody knew because of the minimum standard was met. And the state's minimum standard may be in a Hartford newspaper for all we know, you know?
Yeah.
Right, it just might be the Hartford Current,
Well,
that's
this way they get to hear Anthony's voice again.
it. Yep.
Right, Anthony?
I'm sorry, say again?
They get to hear your voice again over at Heritage.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what, you're just looking for a place large enough to hold it, or what?
Well, so I had inquired about NBIS cafeteria, which is where we had the hearings 2 years ago. Unfortunately, it's the same night as open house, so now I've been talking with Lauren about the senior center.
I don't think
Picnic
that,
center.
I don't know if that's gonna be big enough.
What about the auditorium?
Well, the issue's gonna be parking. If they have open house on September 8th, your issue is going to be parking.
And they had set the date, so that's kind of my next step, is if we don't have a space large enough on September 8th, to go back to them to see if they could change the date.
Is it the middle school open house? Or the high, is that the open house?
Believe it's the middle school.
Can we talk to, I mean, because it's,
Probably already published it in their calendar, right?
no, calendars aren't out yet. It's July. The calendars
You
haven't
think
been.
the school system can move that date?
Well, that's what I'm seeing, if we can ask them if there's any possibility
Maybe Mike could call tomorrow.
that they could.
Don't they print those way ahead of time, those ones that they hand out?
No, they're not printed, I know, they're not printed yet. Cause we usually don't get them until, like, just when school's starting the week before, so they're not printed yet. So if there's any possibility, only because we didn't have control over the state, with the state on there, they kind of set the date and
Right. We can ask, right? We can ask them if that's possible.
You could ask the superintendent
Yeah,
tomorrow.
that's-
Yeah, give Scott a call
Yeah.
tomorrow. if they can move that date, a day or two, it makes this all doable. Let's get the hearing done,
Yeah.
get this over with before the expenses keep just churning away.
Then at least you know when you make the call to the state whether ours is available or not.
Because that would be the place to have it, is the auditorium.
Yeah.
Where the hearings were held, oh, in the auditorium, not
The
the
auditorium,
cafeteria.
not the cafeteria. You cannot
Okay.
hear in that cafeteria.
Yep.
It's not conducive, and I believe the auditorium holds more than the cafeteria.
Okay. Thank you.
It's a bit of a pain.
You resend that, you resend it out again.
No, but it's still turning around, you can't.
You stand it on and it'll go sideways.
Yeah, but just lock it. You can, under setting, you can lock it so it doesn't
With
rotate.
what, that wrench?
No, just go to settings on the first page. You don't lock it.
You gotta back out.
Sure you will, huh?
Settings. Lock rotation. So now it will not turn when you.
Not go get the ends of stir.
Well, because if it's landscape, it's the other way, then.
Well,
It
no,
gets
I
too
think
big.
But.
Thank you.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I got it.
All right, next
For those of
item
us
is
that are electronically
contingency
challenged.
appropriations.
Is the one at our place different than the one that was in our packet?
No, contingency appropriation did not change. The,
Oh, okay.
what you have before you was a request for $25,000 of additional tree work. We've been advised by the Public Works Director there are numerous trees in the need of being removed, and some are rather costly. He needs significantly more than this, but he will prioritize the ones that are most severe and use the existing funds plus this money to rectify those.
He just couldn't see us ending the year with so much in our contingency.
That's exactly what it is.
I'd like to move that the town manager is hereby authorized to appropriate from reserve for contingency account 101-4703-760-0000 and transfer into the appropriate accounts as soon as possible for the following purpose: additional tree work, $25,000.
Second.
Before we vote on this, Franny, is there a way, instead of just using, being under 15,000 or whatever, could you, call a few of the tree guys, take them on a tour and get a cost to do them all? Or how are you planning to do it?
Well, yeah, they gotta look at them, and then we're just gonna get prices from the 4 guys that we use. and
Right.
Dole it out that way, so everybody gets a little bit of work. But the trees it's a major problem.
So what do
It's just
you,
not, the 25,000 is just doing, I got about 30-something trees that are tagged, that are the ones that are hazards. And there's probably a lot more. I mean, you gotta turn your head, because it's on that. Ash borer is really starting to affect our town now. There's a lot. Hate
You
to
got
say it,
ash
but-
and evergreen that are hurted by disease.
What was that?
Evergreen.
Yeah,
Evergreens.
oh, yeah, no, there's a lot of, but the ash borer now is kicked in pretty good.
How about gypsy blossom, you had,
Yeah, we, top of Sea Hill up, the other end near, White Hollow got it. But those will come back, I mean, the leaves are chewed off, but they won't
They're
die.
coming back now. They're starting to refocus.
It's the ones that are, mostly the ash borers, and the big maples, we just did a huge maple
Yeah.
up on Sea Hill.
Maples.
Humongous one. Wow, that was bigger than the one up in, Dayton Hill. One, I think it was about almost 50 inches round. And it's unfortunate. The other big problem we're gonna have is all the wood that we're getting is gonna have to be ground up. And you're looking at about 10,000 a day. Right now, I think we probably got about a week's worth of grinding to do.
Do you rent a machine for that? Is that what you did?
Rent the contractor, they gotta be split, ground up, and we're gonna end up with this humongous pile of wood chips again. And
If the
all
wood is
our-
split, wouldn't people be interested in taking that?
No,
for
it's
farming?
all stumps and all big wood, rotten wood, it's,
Uh-huh.
and we're under quarantine
And
orders, too.
it's got disease.
So the wood can't leave our area.
So what do we do? What do we do? Let it biodegrade or? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's right. I mean, you could get, people probably would take some of the, a lot of the wood that we cut down, though, we do leave it, the residents want it, we leave it there for them. We don't.
How do they know which they can and cannot take?
Well, they can take it as long as it's gotta stay in our area, our town, our county.
Oh, I
It
see.
can't go outside the borders.
I thought you meant like it couldn't leave your yard.
No, it could leave my yard, like if it's cut down in the White Hollow, we cut a tree down, we ask the resident if they want it, it's theirs.
All right.
So we do try to give as much of it away as we possibly can.
So when you chip it up, people can take that too.
Yeah, like
Well, we
the
don't- we
DEP is starting to check firewood that comes into the camp state parks.
Right.
To make sure it came from within their area, because each area is quarantined because of the amount of disease that's in some of the wood.
We don't really give away the chips and stuff because it's more of a issue. Some people do come down and get them, but to have it open on the weekend, someone needs to be there.
Right.
It's, it's just a whole other thing. It's a costly thing.
Or is it done by the leaf pile there? Yeah.
But even trimming back and stuff, I mean, it's.
Oh, we gotta vote on it.
Motion to approve the contingency. Roll call?
Mayor Duty?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fawnin?
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni?
Yes.
Counselor Arman?
Yes.
Counselor Candelara?
Yes.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Miller?
Yes.
Counselor Rose?
Yes.
Next item is appropriation transfers.
You need to stray off your tablet for a minute and look at the paper copy that was presented tonight. There was one transfer that was sent down Friday afternoon. I included it for the police department. You see on the back side of your sheet is the explanation that was provided. Firearms, they're needing to meet active shooter training situations.
I thought that we approved that in the budget this year.
I don't believe so.
There was 2,500 or something like that, and another 2,500. There's $5,000 in there for transfers.
No, that was for tasers, the transfers.
No, requests in the budget this year.
16, 17?
July 1st, yes. But anyways,
This is for last year, this is the last budget year, right?
That's right, 15, 16.
Which so they already did this.
no.
I don't believe so.
They're looking,
So what,
they're
you're
looking to
encumbering
purchase.
it?
Encumbering, they're gonna purchase it with last year's money.
So what account are they taking the 4950 from?
Overtime
And where's
and
the
3,000 professional development.
Okay.
Aside from that, the rest of them are all smaller dollar amounts. The largest besides that being the litigation going to other contractual for the town attorney's department. There was a greater use of outside attorneys as we did the police pension this year, as well as there was 1 month where we had basically 2 town attorneys we paid in November. We paid John for the month and then we paid Tim for that for the month as well. So that caused that department to go over.
I'm going to move the council approves the appropriation transfers as itemized by the finance manager, as recommended by the town manager.
Second?
Roll call.
You're going off the revised one, because there's the revised and there's one. So you're going,
Well, this one plus the other two that were on the sheet that, not on our tablet.
13E revised,
First thing.
dated July 12, 2016.
Yeah, okay, 13E revised.
Roll call.
Mayor Duty?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fawnin?
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni?
yes.
Counselor Arman?
Yes.
Counselor Candelara?
Yes.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Miller?
Yes.
Counselor Rose?
Yes.
Next is tax refunds.
Move to approve.
Second.
Mayor Duty?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fawnin?
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni?
Yes.
Counselor Arman?
Yes.
Counselor Candelara?
Yes.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Miller?
Yes.
Counselor Rose?
Yes.
Next item is citizen statements and petitions. Seeing none, motion to adjourn.
Just a minor point, Mike, will you have available for us next meeting, at least paper agendas? Because it's impossible to flip back and forth in the tablet from when you're looking at a specific item that we're discussing, going back to the agenda. So if we could have a paper agenda to accompany the tablet and make it a little more easy to navigate. Move to adjourn.
Second.
Mayor Duty?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fawnin?
Yes.
Counselor Angeloni?
Yes.
Counselor Arman?
Yes.
Counselor Candelara?
Yes.
Counselor Diamond?
Yes.
Counselor Miller?
Yes.
Counselor Rose?